we need to tether ourselves to stay well. This is a long haul. It's not just this is it now. This is a curriculum we're now in. It's very fierce. But I believe we wouldn't be here if we weren't meant to be here to meet this moment, and all that it is. And a lot of it is being willing not to know. We don't really know, but I feel we'll be guided for sure.
If you want to have loving feelings, which is what heaven is, you do loving things. You take the action and the insight will follow. So I think also about the benefit of doing this work around your own divisive thoughts, your own polarized feelings from half of the nation, maybe people in your own family. In 12-step recovery, we say that the willingness to do the deep dive comes from the pain. So you really have to be in enough pain with your polarization and divisiveness to think about doing the work, of turning to God, which is God, the great outdoors, to turn away from your pinball machine of mental ideas about how you wish you could just correct other people.
Traditionally in India, it is said that we are in Kali Yuga, and we have been in Kali Yuga since the death of Krishna, which it is said from the testimony of a great Indian astronomer named Aryabhatta. It is said that Krishna died in approximately the year 3102 BC. So, according to this calculation, and this is one that my mentor endorsed, according to this calculation, we've been in Kali Yuga for about 5,000 years. Out of one Kali Yuga that is, according to this theory, supposed to last for 432,000 years. So if you're doing a puja, ritual worship here in India, you will say that you will identify where you are in time and space. And when you identify where you are in time, you will say that we are in the second half of the life of the Creator.
It's just a time, of conditions of on all levels where there is a lot of stress, a lot of concern. People are trying to have a vision for the future, for their families, for their communities, for themselves. And at the same time, there's so much uncertainty, and it's just a kind of intense time. And so how are we, in these times, not in a way just to survive, but to flourish, to be of service to ourselves and to others, to have a sense of resource, to have a sense of resilience.
How do we cultivate that capacity to be in loving awareness, to quote Raudas, to be open-eyed, open-hearted, and just fully present? Like this story of the woman in the tsunami in Thailand years ago, who found herself alive and on top of a palm tree, only because the waters had not sucked her down, but lifted her up. Your only role is to be open-eyed and present.
Enlightenment comes not, by the way, from a bright idea at all. It comes from an experience of emptying yourself of your self-focus, self-centeredness, and by emptying of that, becoming truly empathic about what others are feeling. And since there are a lot more of them than there is you, that becomes more important to you, which is where compassion is rooted. It's rooted in empathy, which means it's rooted in the need and the sufferings of others. That's what compassion is, a reaction to the suffering of others, but an effective one when combined with that wisdom of openness, wisdom of experiential openness to others, which is the empathy. And that's where your intuition comes from. So when Ram Dass says, trust the web of compassion, and replace your analytic thing of, I'm going to figure out what's the best thing to do here and there, which will never be completely accurate.
So our topic is on judgment and relationships. And as I thought about the title, and also reflecting back on what Ram Dass was talking about, trees and seeing people as trees, you know, he says you walk into the forest and you see an oak or a maple or an aspen or whatever type of tree. You acknowledge their presence, you might appreciate their presence, but you don't judge them. And I found that such an interesting way of looking at things. I hadn't thought about it like that. And then immediately I went back to my college days, actually even high school days, where, you know, you're trying to figure out your life, and it feels like you need to have some kind of strategy and you need to have an opinion.
When gang members walk through our doors, people look at them in the eye. Oh, nobly born, remember who you really are, as the Buddhists would say. And they see them. And gang members will always say, we're used to being watched. We're not used to being seen. And people walk through those doors and people say with breathless delight, you're here. You're here. And it's the only thing that human beings hope for is to be seen. And so here at Homeboy, we want to create a place that's safe, where people are seen, and then they can be cherished.
We can always rest our mind in the sort of ultimate nature of the mind, which is extreme, unconditioned, present awareness. And Ram Dass, towards the end, was absolutely holding that space for people as a group and for individuals. And he would just chant, I know some of you were there, I am loving awareness. I am, and holding that, okay, yes, but no, I am loving awareness. I am loving awareness. So we can always tap into that kind of ultimate and unconditional quality of awareness and rest in it. And we should, during these troubling times, take some time to meditate. I think, my humble opinion. It's even more important that you take some time. You can meditate and then go vote, meditate and then go do whatever else you need to do.
Maharaji goes, Ram Dass, something wrong? Come here. So Ram Dass goes over and Maharaji says, what's wrong? Ram Dass says, I can't stand impurity in myself or in other people. Maharaji looks him up and down a couple of times. He says, I don't see any impurity. Ram Dass started to cry. Maharaji said, Ram Dass, love everyone and tell the truth. Ram Dass said, the truth is, I don't love everyone. Maharaji leans in, closer, nose to nose, eye to eye. Ram Dass, love everyone and tell the truth. So he had to give up. But it took him 50 years. But he really did it.